Okay, today I am sitting here with
Marika.
Marika. How you doing today, Marika?
I am doing great. How are you?
Very good. Thanks for asking. Now, Marika, if you could just explain a little bit to the camera what we're going to be talking about today.
So we're talking about different anxieties and how people kind of handle stress and anxiety, and also maybe some misconceptions about men's concerns about feet.
Okay, awesome. Good job. Now, did you honestly think you was going to be doing something like this today?
No, but you know what? It's 2021. Who knows?
But now that it's happening, how you feeling?
I know. I'm good.
Okay.
Ask away.
Awesome. Now, to kick off the interview, my first question is, how do you feel about the topic as a whole?
Anxiety or feet?
Both.
I think anxiety is something, and I will say this, mental illness in general is something that we do not talk about often enough, and there is a very, very unfortunate stigma about it, and that you cannot be afraid to talk about a subject. You're afraid to talk about cancer, you're afraid to talk about diabetes. It is an illness. It is something that can be treated. It is not something that is anyone's fault.
Okay.
Oftentimes with other issues and disorders and illnesses, it is hereditary. So I think we really need to just get over this stupid stigma that we can't talk about mental illness, we shouldn't be comfortable with it, that it makes you weak if you have it. So, I'm very passionate about mental health issues.
So what are your thoughts on the feet portion of it?
So it's interesting to me, people who are afraid of feet or are uncomfortable, I look at feet as a functional part of my body. I'm a runner, I'm a marathoner, an ultra marathoner. I'm also a cyclist. I could not do what I do without my feet looking and being the exact shape of what they are.
Okay.
Your feet are meant to go with your body structure. There is a reason why maybe you have a longer middle toe, or maybe you got a stubby little toe, or whatever it is. That is physiologically part of your body, and there's no shame in it. And if we're gonna start talking about whose feet are beautiful and whose feet are not, don't we have worse things to do with that? We're in the middle of a freaking pandemic.
Okay.
Let's talk about some other important things. But if you're unsure about your feet, the way I look at it is keep them clean, keep the nails trimmed, make sure that or making sure that you're wearing the proper socks, because that's one of the most important things in terms of foot health, is the proper socks. You don't want all cotton. You want a breathable, breathable material. You want to have comfortable shoes that fit. And I know for a lot of ladies that like to squeeze themselves into them red bottom Louboutins. Look, I got a couple pairs. I put them on. I get to where I'm going. I take them off.
Awesome.
They're for looks only. They're not for any functional activity. But honestly, I'm proud of my feet. I'm proud of my legs. I'm proud of my lungs, because my body has taken me over 100 miles running, many, many marathons, incredible, bike rides and other things that I would have never have gotten to do without my feet. And so, yes, they are utilitarian. They can still be nice. Some people like to paint their toenails, some people don't. I think as long as you keep your feet clean and healthy, that's the most important thing.
Okay, awesome. Good observation. Good explanation for that. I appreciate that.
You got it.
Yeah, I've never had that much of a thorough explanation or idea about feet. So I always appreciate that.
They're very functional, and the thing about feet is that, and I do believe, because in any professional environment, it's important to have clean hands, trim nails. You don't want crazy things depending on what your position is. But with feet, if you don't have your feet when you get older, you're screwed.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Especially people who are diabetic have to really be careful. Diabetic neuropathy is a very big problem. So it's really important to take care of your feet and see them as a functional part of you. Now, I understand that some people might have an eroticism for them, or feel there is some sort of sexual part to that, and that's fine. If that floats your boat, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I just think of them as functional parts of my body that are necessary for my utter survival. So I take care of them, keep them clean, wear the right fitting shoes, the right socks. You know, if you've had I'm really careful about the shoes I buy to make sure that they're the right shoes for the activity that I'm doing, or that they're the right shoes that give me the right stability. Because remember, everything you do lands upon your feet, and your feet set the tone for the rest of your body. If your feet are out of whack, your legs are going to be out of whack, your back's going to be out of whack. So just, they truly are the roots of your skeletal body. So it's really important to take care of them, because you can get a slight cut or an infection or an ingrown toenail, and in rare cases those things can go to your heart and kill you. Very, very rare cases. So it's really important to see your feet as a part of you that you would take care of just as much as your heart, your lungs, your back, any other part of your body.
Okay, now my next question is, do you think your feet are pretty? Do you think they're okay? Like, how do you feel about your feet?
I feel great about my feet because
as far as looks,
I keep my toenails trimmed. Like, I don't really paint my toenails just because I know that over time that can be really kind of bad for them. So, especially during COVID when I wasn't doing anything, I didn't bother with painting my toenails or whatever. But I love them because of how far they've taken me and what they have enabled me to do.
Okay, and now do you go to a nail salon or do you pedicure yourself?
I just cut my toenails myself. I make sure that my toenails are moist, so I'm not cutting them dry. So it's important, like when you get out of the shower, when they're more pliable, that's the best time to cut them, and make sure that there's no hangnails or anything, and that your feet are clean. You're keeping them clean. And you're just taking good care of them like you would any other part of your body.
Okay, now do you paint them at all?
Not anymore. I used to, but I just don't. I think a lot of what I would consider pampering or luxury things have really changed since COVID, and it's just not as important to me now.
Okay, fair
not
enough.
to say I won't do it again. But
You're rare on my channel. I think pretty much every female that I've interviewed so far, they've always had some sort of favorite color that they paint their nails. But
in general, I have before, but honestly, like, so much has changed with COVID, and priorities have had to shift. It's, that's something that I could easily give up. There were other things that would be much harder, but that's something that I have no problem taking on my own and just going au naturel.
Okay, awesome. Now, do you get any compliments on your feet on a day-to-day basis?
Probably not, because I'm always in sneakers, or I'm either in running shoes or shoes. When I do wear like flip-flops or slides, I'm usually at home. So, not really, but I have gotten compliments on my feet in the past, yeah.
Okay. Now, is that by men, women, or both?
I know one definitely was by a guy. I think I've gotten compliments by women as well, saying that they like the nail color I had or whatever.
Oh, so you would say it's like a handful of guys and girls that complimented you on your feet. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay, let's say, for example, you was walking down the street and you had on some open-toed shoes, and a guy walked past you and said, "Hey, I think you have really nice feet." How would that make you feel in that moment?
Like, glad you noticed it. You want to look up and give me some more compliments on my eyes?
Okay.
Like, come on. Like, I'm a whole package, but I appreciate it.
Okay. See,
it doesn't offend me.
Well, it's nice that you at least appreciate it. A lot of women don't even like the compliment of feet because I think
feet is one of those things that there's also a lot of very strong underlying cultural considerations about feet and what different cultures feel about feet. So, some women might make them uncomfortable because their culture might not associate that with something positive.
Okay.
I think it depends on the person.
All right. Now, let's say a guy really liked your feet to the point where he wanted to give you foot massages and rub them and kiss them and smell them and lick them. How would that make you feel?
That I don't know. I'd be like, no.
Well, just in general, it can be somebody you're in a relationship with, or just in.
No, that doesn't really float my boat. Not really. I wouldn't mind a foot massage, like if I got a pedicure or like I'm at a massage, getting a foot massage. But any of the other stuff just doesn't. I just don't. I'm like,
Okay.
I realize that maybe a sexual preference for some, it doesn't really, it doesn't do anything for me.
All right, awesome. Now, let's say, for example, there was a guy who liked feet, and he had an interest in you because he liked your feet. What do you think would be like the best approach or best opening line that he could use as it pertains to him liking your feet? Or is there any?
Well, I don't think, you know, maybe just because I'm older, I don't think that, I think this outside facade is generally the first thing that you encounter for someone, and you know, you might find attractive, but there's so much more to a person, and looks fade, and feet get old, and faces get wrinkled, and so I would hope that someone, I mean, you could use it as a nice icebreaker, but you know, I would want someone to be attracted to me for the whole package, not just my feet.
Okay. I like that answer. That makes sense. All right. Now, can we see what your feet look like outside the shoes?
Sure.
Okay. You really do have a nice foot shape, man.
Thanks.
Okay. Now, can you cross them at the ankles for me? And then scrunch them back and forth like this. All right. Now, and I wanted to know, what did your feet smell like?
I don't know. They probably smell like socks right now.
Do you mind if I smell them?
I mean, if you really want to, I don't know what you're gonna get out of it, but
all right. Well, can I actually have you hold the camera this way?
yeah, just don't lick my feet.
Yeah.
That might be weird because we just met.
Yeah. Okay. You ready?
Yep.
Experience right now. I just smelled your feet. Like, what was going through your mind at that point?
Don't lick them. Just don't
Yeah,
lick
just
them.
don't.
I might have to kick you.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Yeah, because that actually was my next exercise.
Yeah,
but yeah, so it's like, yeah, so you're pretty good at, like, you know, that.
I have boundaries. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So yeah. So, but you know, I have exercises that I do like in order just to see what the woman's comfort level is, to see like if there is like, you know, like a line that she has or a boundary or an uncomfortable feeling. Like, let's figure out why that is. So.
Well, I think, I mean, one, because I don't know you, and two, like, if this is going on internet, like, you don't want to, you know.
Right.
I'm looking at this more as of a mental health exercise for you, and that's great, and I'm happy to help out, because if someone who has dealt with mental health issues, I'm very open to helping people, but then I know my own boundaries and my own anxieties, and I kind of know how to navigate around.
But for the purposes of this interview, I have to ask, like, what do you think would be the worst that can happen from you licking your feet?
It'd just be weird, because you don't know me.
Right. But do you think that, you know...
And I wouldn't even let someone who knows me lick my feet. Like, I just think there's, like...
Okay.
I mean, I think, and again, you know, that's just, there's, like, a level of familiarity, and I wouldn't enjoy it. I don't care who did it. I don't care if, you know, Leonardo DiCaprio, well, I don't even really like him, but whoever, you know, came up here and wanted to lick my feet, I'd be like, ugh, why? Like, it just doesn't do anything for me. It's just weird, you know?
Oh, okay. Okay. And you can put your shoes back on. That was the end of the exercises.
Cool.
Now, my final question is, in the day and age of Instagram and OnlyFans...
What's OnlyFans?
Okay, yeah. Well, OnlyFans is basically a website where people can create their own content, that people can pay a monthly fee, and whatever that content is, like, you know, they just pay a monthly fee to view that content.
Is it supposed to be of sexual nature?
Well, that's the thing. It's predominantly like X-rated content. That's the most That's what it's known for. That's what That's what makes the website popular, is the X-rated content.
Gotcha.
So on these websites, Instagram and OnlyFans, you have women, you know, selling feet pics online, and so it's a real popular thing, you know. Women all over Instagram, OnlyFans, just selling feet pics, you know, catering to men who like feet. And with the internet, like, everything is just so wide open for everybody to see.
Right.
You know. Now, with all that going on in today's age, why do you believe that there's still taboo around guys who like feet?
Well, I don't I mean, I don't really think that's. I don't know if that's a taboo. I mean, women could like feet. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily segregated to one half of one sex. But I think people like what they like, and look, if it's between two consenting adults, you do you, boo. As long as you don't hurt anybody, you don't hurt a child, you don't endanger a child, you don't physically threaten or harm someone else, and then whatever you do in your relationship is your business. And that's, the great thing is that, like, you have in this country that freedom to do so. But we also have, I think, a more refined sense of self, especially after the Me Too movement, and women are really taking back their narrative. And when before, like someone like Harvey Weinstein might have, or plenty of others in that category, they have tried to push boundaries with women when they really weren't comfortable and they didn't feel that they had the power to say no. Women have the power to say no.
Okay.
And if you're cool with that, then you're cool with that. If you're not, you're not. It doesn't make you a good or bad person. What makes you go into the red is when you force someone or intimidate someone to do something that they don't want to do.
So yeah. So basically what you're saying is you don't think society thinks that it's necessarily weird, but it's a common thing for guys to have a certain behave a certain way around liking feet.
Well, look, either you like feet or you don't. Either you're a boob man, you're not. You're a butt man, you're not. I mean, guys have different. Every man has a different quality about a woman that they like, or another man, or whatever their sexual orientation may be, or whatever gender or non-gender that they identify with. So I think that for people who are like feet, you like feet. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, people who like hands, people who like eyes or whatever. I mean, it's just something else. Again, it's a part of your body, but with any part of your body, be it your foot, your hands, your face, your back, whatever, you as a man have the right to decide whether or not a woman or another man has the right to enter into that space, and vice versa.
So what you're saying is, it shouldn't matter regardless of what society thinks. Just if you like what you like, just make.
Who's society? Because I think if anything, if this last 2 years have taught us anything, is that we are a completely polarized society, and what one person might think is okay, someone's not going to think is okay, someone's not going to care. So I don't think you can use society in general in terms of things like that. It's not a black or white issue, so it's just how people kind of relate to each other and relate to themselves and the people that they choose to surround themselves with.
Okay, very good perspective. Now, to close out this interview, what did you think of this entire interview from start to finish?
It was interesting.
Did you feel like you learned something?
Yeah, I'm interested in. I like hearing about this new way to help overcome anxiety by approaching people and putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation. Because really, being uncomfortable, as long as you're safe, is a great way to grow. So that, I think, is very cool. So if you naturally have an issue with anxiety and your doctor said, well, I really want you to work on this, and you've sort of found this sort of foot angle that also you're intrigued in, yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know if as many people would be as open about it as me, some maybe not, but I'm, my thing is, it didn't do anything weird. I mean, it is what it is. Like, my boyfriend would think that was really weird, but it is what it is. Like, he's just a different, he's not as open as I am. So,
okay.
It just depends.
All right. Now, on a 1 to 10 scale, how would you rate my conversation skills during the interview?
You're a 10. You're a great conversationalist.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Now, did you notice any stuttering, stumbling over words, or long pauses in the middle of a sentence?
I don't think so.
Okay, awesome, great. Now, what did you think about my approach when I came up to you and asked you to do this?
I was like, it was cool. I was like, okay.
Okay, awesome. And
I'm always open to new encounters, but I always know when I can back out. So
okay.
I'm very open to people, and I'm really making an effort to be more open to people, because I think, if anything, the last 2 years have taught us that we have to band together as a human race and accept people who maybe are different from us, or who wouldn't maybe we wouldn't talk to or whatever, and you don't judge a book by its cover. So really trying to engage with all different kinds of people, different paths of life, different walkways, and that's the only way that like we as a species are going to move forward.
Yeah, like I like what you said about when you can walk away, like
Right,
because
you can walk away and you have boundaries, and everyone has
like,
boundaries, and I mean, sniffing my feet was a little pushing a boundary for me, but I was like, all right, whatever.
but you overcame that today.
I did.
And you should be proud of yourself.
I am. I mean, hey.
Yeah, that's the point of my channel.
Just don't be selling my stuff on OnlyFans.
Nah. I got you after the interview, but I like what you said about when to get up and walk away, because a lot of women feel like once they're in something, well, they feel like if I even engage in it in the first place, then I can't back out.
Well, I will tell you, I mean, and it really did. I think up until the Me Too movement, so many women and also men, and that's a very unserved aspect of this. Many women and many men have been put in situations that they're not comfortable, but they feel like, well, I'm already here, I've got to see it through. No. At any point, you can exit stage left. Absolutely. And I think it's really important for people to know that and have a strong sense of self and say, hey, this isn't working for me. It was nice meeting you, it's good, but I'm out of here. So you have to have that self-confidence and to know that nothing bad's going to happen to you. I mean, if you lose your job, why would you want that job anyway? If you're put in a situation where, you really feel kind of coerced or, uncomfortable, get out. Why would you subject yourself to something? We all have been given a really strong, I believe, sense of self and a sense of personal morals and a gut feeling, like a true and sensitive gut feeling, and you have to trust that gut feeling.
Okay. And do you have any suggestions or critiques on how I can better my approach in the future?
I think they're good. I think, I don't know. I mean, again, something about feet are very personal to some people. Me, I mean, I see them as a function of my body, like my arms or like my hands or anything else. But, some people do find it a little more personal. So maybe there should be, if people aren't comfortable with feet, maybe you should think of maybe it's hands. That maybe people will be more willing to let you see their hands. So have a backup.
Yeah, well, I just believe that, that's the whole point. Like, I feel like hands, because people not looking at it as like this big deal, like it would defeat the purpose of my channel.
But also, people are more cautious with hands because of COVID.
Oh, okay.
Think about it.
Yeah, and then you have to also consider the fact that I like feet. So that's what made me.
There you go. Well, that makes sense.
So so that's what made me put this whole thing together. So so I feel like feet. Women are more like standoffish about that more than hands, I believe.
I would probably say so in general, just because it's not, it's not really something that you really. I mean, unless you're like fitting a shoe or in some sort of environment that you really talk about, because they're mostly covered.
Right.
And I think most people focus here up.
Okay.
Because that's how they engage with you. You don't really use your feet to engage with you. You use your hands, use your eyes, use your your body motion. So I think people are just more used to that.
All right, ma'am, you have been great today. Like, this has been a wonderful talk.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And with that being said, we can conclude this interview. Thank you so much, and I hope you have an awesome day.
Thanks, you too.